The California Gold Rush by Maggie Rees
and Sofi Van Coutren. In January 1848, James Wilson Marshall discovered gold while constructing a sawmill along the American River northeast of present-day Sacramento, California. This painting depicts James Wilson Marshall himself discovering gold. It was painted by Harold von Schmidt, who was an American artist in the 1900s.
The discovery was reported in the San Francisco newspapers in March, but caused little stir as most did not believe the account.
The spark that ignited the gold rush occurred in May 1848 when Sam Brannan, a storekeeper in Sutter's Creek, flaunted a bottle filled with gold dust around the San Francisco, shouting, "Gold, gold, gold from American River." This began the revolution of the gold industry in America.
The residents of the city now had proof of the discovery, and the stampede to the gold fields was on. Workers abandoned their jobs, and San Francisco's two newspapers were forced to close their doors as their staffs were struck by gold fever. People packed their wagons in a frenzy and headed to California as soon as they could in hopes to strike fortune. Most people traveled in groups rather than traveling alone. People would often encounter gold-driven citizens like themselves from other states during their journey to hopeful wealth.
S. Shufelt was someone with a case of gold fever. All that is known about Mr. Shufelt is contained in a letter he wrote from the gold fields to his cousin in March 1850. It is unknown if he struck it rich or whether he ever returned to his wife and home. On May 11, 1849, he boarded the steamer Panama in New York City along with about 200 fellow fortune hunters, risking all on a gamble in California. Behind him, he left a wife and a child in Windham, New York. Mr. Shufelt reveals his motivation when he tells his cousin that, "I have left those that I love as my own life behind, and risked everything and endured many hardships to get here. I want to make enough to live easier and do some good with before I return." These same thoughts no doubt inspired the majority of those who made the trek to the gold fields. They were not intending to stay, but planned to make some money and return to their origins.
The New York Herald printed news of the discovery in August 1848. Gold seekers traveled overland across the mountains to California or took the roundabout sea routes.
At first, the gold nuggets could be picked up off the ground. Later, gold was recovered from streams and riverbeds using simple techniques such as panning. It is the oldest method of mining gold. Once a suitable place for deposits is located, some gravel from it is scooped into a pan, where it is then gently agitated in water and the gold sinks to the bottom of the pan. Materials with a low specific gravity are allowed to spill out of the pan, whereas materials with a high specific gravity sink to the bottom of the sediment during agitation and remain within the pan for examination and collection by the gold panner. New gold miners picked up this technique quickly as it was widely practiced among the Californians.
A southeastern empire was growing at the same time as the California Gold Rush. Slaves were used to pick large amounts of cotton. Cotton was referred to as the gold of the South and was the base of the Eastern economy, much like gold for the Western economy.
A census of San Francisco in April 1847 reported the town consisted of 79 buildings including shanties, frames, and houses. By December 1849, the population had flourished to an estimated 100,000. The massive influx of fortune seekers Americanized the once Mexican province and assured its annexation as a state in the Union.